Jennifer had never imagined that becoming a stepmother would feel like learning to swim in deep water. Some days she floated effortlessly, laughing with her husband Mark and his son Ryan, and other days she felt like she was kicking against a current, unsure if she was making progress. It wasn't that Ryan disliked her, at least not openly. He was just a teenager, caught somewhere between childhood curiosity and adult independence, and that came with walls she hadn't yet figured out how to climb. Jennifer and Mark had been married for nearly a year. Their house was a comfortable, slightly creaky two-story in Columbus, Ohio, with a wide porch and a lawn that always seemed to need mowing. Jennifer had grown up in the city, surrounded by noise and concrete, so the hum of cicadas at night and the occasional bark of a neighbor's dog were a refreshing change. She loved the quiet, but it also meant that when something unusual happened, it stood out. On this particular Saturday, she had been in the kitchen, flipping through a stack of cookbooks on the counter. She had promised Mark she'd try something new for dinner, a homemade lasagna with her grandmother's secret spice blend. Mark, ever the handyman, had gone out to the hardware store for supplies to finally fix the sagging back deck. That left Jennifer alone with Ryan. She hadn't heard much from him all morning, which wasn't unusual. At 14, Ryan spent hours in his room tinkering with gadgets or sprawled across his bed scrolling through his phone. But when she heard the upstairs faucet running for an unusually long time, followed by a series of metallic clangs, her curiosity piqued. She paused, tilting her head. That didn't sound like a normal shower. Water, yes, but also a sharp clank, clank, clank. Setting down her cookbook, Jennifer climbed the stairs, her footsteps muffled on the carpet runner. As she reached the top, the sound grew louder. She walked down the hall and gently pushed the bathroom door open. The sight that greeted her froze her in place. Ryan was crouched by the bathtub, fully dressed in a worn t-shirt and basketball shorts. The tub was half filled with soapy water, bubbles rising like a mountain, and in his hands he held a greasy wrench the size of a baseball bat. He was scrubbing it with a sponge, water splashing up the sides of the tub as he worked. Jennifer blinked once. Then again. "Ryan," she said slowly, "what exactly are you doing?" Ryan jumped, nearly dropping the wrench into the soapy water. He turned to her with wide eyes, his cheeks instantly flushing pink. I'm washing my tool." The words hung in the air, innocent and literal, but Jennifer couldn't help herself. A laugh burst out of her, spilling uncontrollably. The sheer seriousness of his expression mixed with the absurdity of the situation was too much. Ryan groaned, burying his face in his arm. "It's not funny." Jennifer bit her lip, trying to calm down, but the sight of suds clinging to his elbows and the wrench bobbing in the water only made her laugh harder. "Sweetheart," she managed between giggles, "most people don't give their tools a bubble bath." He scowled, defensive now. "Well, Dad told me to clean it after we fixed the lawnmower. It was all oily and gross. I didn't know where else to do it. The kitchen sink's too small, and you always say not to make a mess there. So, the tub was the only place left." Jennifer wiped a tear from her eye, her laughter softening into a smile. She stepped closer, kneeling beside him. "I admire the effort, but you're going to clog the drain with all that grease." Ryan glanced down at the foamy water, suddenly looking less confident. "Really?" "Really," she said gently. "Here, let me show you how to do it without wrecking the plumbing." She rolled up her sleeves, grabbed the sponge from his hand, and demonstrated how to scrub the wrench with smaller, more careful motions, rinsing it under hot water and wiping it with an old rag she found in the cabinet. Ryan watched, his frown slowly melting into curiosity. "You've done this before?" he asked. "Plenty of times," she said. "My dad was always working on cars when I was your age." I grew up handing him wrenches and getting grease all over my clothes. Trust me, I've cleaned my share of tools. That seemed to impress him. He leaned in, watching closely as she worked, then took the wrench back and mimicked her movements. Within minutes, the metal gleamed, the last traces of grease washed away. There, Jennifer said proudly. Good as new. Ryan held it up like a trophy, smiling for the first time that afternoon. Not bad. Not bad at all, she agreed. The bathroom, however, was a disaster. Soap suds clung to the tub walls, water pooled on the floor, and the faint smell of motor oil lingered in the air. Jennifer glanced around and sighed. Now we just have to deal with this mess. Ryan grimaced, looking guilty. Sorry. I didn't mean to. She cut him off with a grin. Don't worry. You made the mess, but I'll help you clean it up. Deal? He nodded, and together they set to work. They mopped up the water with towels, wiped down the tub, and carried the soapy bucket to the laundry room to dump it safely. By the time they finished, both were damp and sweaty, but laughing again. As they caught their breath, Ryan leaned against the doorway, studying her. You're not going to tell Dad, are you? Jennifer tilted her head. That depends. Do you want me to? No, he said quickly, then hesitated. I mean, maybe. He'd probably laugh. She smiled warmly. Then we'll tell him together. Make it our story. And just like that, something shifted. It was small, but real. A moment of trust, of connection, carved out of soap suds and a greasy wrench. Jennifer knew she would never forget it. Please like and subscribe my channel for more romantic videos.